What's up, guys? This is TheKephas. Welcome back, everyone, to another adventure in World of Warcraft. This is sort of becoming the things I find awesome in the game series, and we're going to do that again. And this time, as I have leveled up a couple of characters, through the expansions using the Joyous Journeys buff, we are coming upon the very end of the Burning Crusade, possibly for the last time. And I wanted to sort of highlight one of my favorite memories from the Burning Crusade, and also what I feel to be one of the best moments in the game for me personally overall, and that is crossing through the Dark Portal. This is one of those things that when I look back on, I'd say it's easily in my top 5 best memories of the game. You're crossing through to another world, and it's really crazy because you look at the login screen from Vanilla WoW and then Burning Crusade. It always felt like when you were logging in, you were crossing through a portal just like this. And so, not knowing a whole lot about the lore and the storyline in this game, waiting to come here and do this was something that I had been looking throughout most of my leveling process. And so, you go through this portal, which honestly, it's kind of funny because when you cross through, it's a lot bigger on this side. It's kind of like the TARDIS. Like, you cross through and the portal is like 100 times bigger than it is in Azeroth. So, but you come in here, and here you are on this crazy world with this amazing skybox. There's a bunch of demons fighting down there. They're running up this stairs, and you're thinking you're about to get killed, and you're like, holy crap, this is crazy. So the first time that I ever came through this portal, I was a little bit late to the dance because, I started playing around the beginning of Burning Crusade, and so people were here already playing, and I finally got to this point, and I was playing on a PvP server as well. So as soon as I come through the portal, about 3 or 4, I think, well, actually at the time it was Alliance. I was playing Alliance, so it was Horde characters, but about 3 or 4 of them swarmed down on me with their flying mounts and killed me instantly. And I was like, well, I guess I found everyone, because even at that time, during Burning Crusade, I mean, there were still a lot of people out leveling. The world was still pretty packed, but a lot of the players, most players probably, were here in Outlands. So I thought the world was packed before, and when I got here, I was like, holy cow, there are so many more people here, and so it's kind of funny. I don't play on a PvP server anymore, let's just say. So it was one of those things where I crossed through the portal, and I'm like, wow, this is incredible. And then I just died. It's like, record scratch, kill the moment's over. We're back to playing World of Warcraft again. But I just a funny memory, that I have. But I think it's just one of those things where, WoW is a very unique world. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like you go from this big fantasy magic elves and humans and stuff, and then you have these alien races, the Draenei, as well as orcs, which I guess are technically alien to Azeroth, which is kind of interesting. And you come here to this other planet which has been wrecked, and it just looks nuts. And I remember kind of extending from the Dark Portal, coming into a crazy environment like Hellfire Peninsula. It was nothing like I had experienced up to that point. As I, look around here trying to actually find quests. There's one. I think that's a quest that I want to do. Let's see, so that's one of them. So I remember vividly just coming to this place and just how wild things were. You've got Fell Reavers, you got lava shooting up out of the ground, you've got crazy orcs and, people everywhere, and it was just nuts. Like, I think one of the things that really stuck out to me was how, like, the world was breaking apart, and you would be, like, walking along the road, or you'd be like fighting enemies, and there would be like this weird slant to the ground, and so you're walking kind of at a like diagonally where you're kind of slanted over, and that was like a very unique, I guess, kind of experience to me, because it's nothing like the world had ever been before. So Outlands was a good expansion. Like the environments were good because they were very different from everything that Azeroth was, and I think that's one of those things that makes it very creative, because now you have these environments that, you're still trying to make them world-like, I guess. But at the same time, you're thinking outside of the box. These aren't just normal environments. You have to try to make them seem a little bit alien to the world that we've known up to this point. And I think they did a pretty good job through all of the zones. Zanger Marsh, in my opinion, is a standout zone in that regard with the giant mushrooms. And then you've got Terrakar Forest, which is a forest, but it feels very different. So like all the zones are pretty incredible in that regard. Just feeling very different from the rest of or all of Azeroth. So, but then of course you've got demons all over the place. You've got crazy Fel Reavers, meteors shooting down like the demons that keep attacking there. Like it just felt nuts. And it's just one of those things. Like in terms of like introductions to an expansion, these days, with WoW, you have all these amazing, grandiose, like introduction quest lines, which I think are great. I mean, I think that most of the introductions these days are awesome, though a lot of times you'll find yourself wanting to skip them, because you've done them so much. And yeah, this place is packed, so I'm gonna have a fun time trying to actually find enemies to fight. But at the same time, I think this one sticks out to me even more than most of them. I mean, I think that Warlords of Draenor has a pretty memorable introduction, and a lot of the other ones are pretty good as well. But this one really sticks out to me because of just how how big of a deal it was, like a major event. And like all you do is you just come down to the Blasted Lands and cross through the portal. That's literally it. There's no crazy introduction. You cross through, there you are. You go to your faction city and you get started questing right away. There is no grandiose fanfare or big introduction. And like I said, I'm not insulting those things, but it just goes to show you how sometimes it can be just as effective to have the right setting in the environment when you get started. And like you don't always need to have those big moments, but at the same time it just depends on what you want to do. And so I just think it's kind of funny, like I don't know how other people feel about this. This might be one of those like small deals, like not small deals, not a big deal. Like maybe people might feel like I'm stretching. It's not my intention, because I genuinely do like look back on crossing through the portal and just coming to Outlands pretty fondly. And I'm actually curious if other people feel the same way. We're going to be going into Northrend soon, and I think that expansion kind of has the same feeling. Like when you don't have these grand these major story events happening. When I talk about that, I'm, referring to things like, the Legion Broken Shore event, going through the portal in Warlords, those types of events, are getting the shards for the helm and Shadowlands. Those are all fun and they're memorable in their own way. But it's funny how, like, you look back at, the Burning Crusade and Wrath, and you have these, I guess, like more low-key events. You're just crossing through a portal or you're just hopping on a boat, and yet they kind of capture this feeling that feels very different from going through a big story event or whatever. So crossing through the dark portal, and going into this very different world is memorable. And also getting on that boat to Northrend, or Zeppelin, I guess, if you're Horde. I think it was a Zeppelin. And, you hear that Northrend music that it sounds like you're this, soldier, and you've just been shipped off to war. It kind of has that feeling to it. And it's those little moments are very powerful, with the right setting, the right music, the right tone, and the right amount of build and hype. It can really go a long way in terms of, making, the player feel it, and be in that moment, even if it's immediately ruined by a bunch of jerks on flying mounts. So it's just one of those things that, as much as I have famously I'm not famously, relatively speaking to me, I guess infamously, depending on who watches my videos, I'm not famous. But like I've made it known many times that, like, Outlands has always been one of my least favorite leveling experiences, though I'm going to be doing it here. I kind of skipped TBC Classic. I'm going to be doing it here in Wrath, in Wrath and in the pre-patch, just trying to get some characters leveled up. And it'll be fun to kind of go through it the old way with the slower leveling and these different class builds. So it kind of gives me a different mentality, I guess. There are some fond memories leveling, but I don't know. Something about Outlands always felt like a drag to me. It's just, I don't know what it is. It's not even that I don't like the environments. I think the environments are awesome, but there's just something about Outlands that I don't know what it is. But we'll see how I feel about it after, doing this. And maybe I'll talk about it. Maybe I'll make a video. But, we're kind of, like I said, we're coming up on the end of TBC. And, I was getting characters here, and I was thinking about, like, man, I kind of want to talk about this. It's the last time, maybe the last time ever that we get to play the Burning Crusade as it was, with the way that Classic is being handled. So I thought it would be kind of fun to come back here, talk about that a little bit, kind of share, my memories and my experiences of going through the Dark Portal. Kind of a shorter video, but it's just one of those things that I thought would be fun to talk about. Just, how... you can have these low-key moments in the game, and yet, years later, I mean, it's been, not 20 years, but, well over 10. I mean, I guess it would have been, for me, 2007. I'm too old to do the math. I'm old, you guys. 15 years? Wow, 15 years. That's crazy, man. Wow. So, yeah, I think it's been 15. Yeah, so it's been 15 years. Jeez, math is so hard for me. Yeah, so 15 years since I've done this, and I remember it like it was yesterday. I vividly remember it, and it's just another one of those examples of, and obviously it's also an example of, I can't recapture that exact same memory, in terms of like reliving that moment the first time you cross through the Dark Portal. That's not really something that you can relive, but I do think that while you can't relive the same memories, you can't recapture the same thing. It's kind of like, what's a good example? It's like being a kid and then, having a kid and watching your kid grow up or something. I don't know. Maybe that's not a good example, but it's like, you get the excitement and you get the fun and you get to enjoy it, but you may not have the same memories, but coming back and reliving it does sort of reawaken those feelings. And I guess that's what nostalgia is. But at the same time, it's also fun to just do it again. It's fun to come back and revisit it and play it again, whether it's purely nostalgia or partially nostalgia and also partially because you actually enjoy it. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where just because you can't relive the exact same... Wow, that's a big upgrade. Check that out. You can't relive the exact same feeling, memory, or whatever. It's still fun to come back and visit and to reminisce. My intellect today is something to worry about, I guess. So yeah, anyway, you guys, it's just, I've really been having a lot of fun, playing WoW again. There's so many things in this game that I find awesome. And I actually, believe it or not, I know I've mostly been doing Classic up to this point, but I actually think that I'll be doing some retail soon. So some things I find awesome, some of it can even be found in retail modern WoW, believe it or not. So there's going to be some of that. There's going to be some other things. In fact, I think I'm discovering one right now, which is how awesome it is to be on a big server with lots of people where you can't get anything done. Those are good times. Either way, I'm going to try to make my way here through Outlands the best I can, and I'll find more awesome things in WoW to talk about. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know by clicking that like button. And feel free to share it with your friends so they can enjoy it as well. And if you'd like to see more videos, you can subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon to be notified as soon as new videos are posted. You can also follow me on Facebook, and if you'd like, you can support my work on Patreon. Links to all that stuff can be found in the description below. This is TheKephas. Until next time.